What are some examples of algebra concepts in daily life? Have you ever thought about how often you use algebra without even realizing it? Algebra is not just for classrooms. It plays a big role in our everyday lives. Let's take a closer look at some practical examples of algebra concepts that you encounter daily. First, consider budgeting and managing money. When you plan your monthly expenses or save for a special item, algebra helps you figure out how much you can spend. For instance, if you have a monthly allowance and want to know your daily spending limit, you can set up an equation. You take your total money and divide it by the number of days in the month to find out how much you can spend each day. Next, think about shopping and discounts. When you see a sale, you often want to calculate the final price. If an item costs $100 and has a 20% discount, you can use algebra to find out how much you will actually pay. You set up an equation to representing the original price and the discount percentage, then solve for the final cost. Cooking is another area where algebra comes into play. If you have a recipe that serves for people but need to serve 6, you can use algebra to adjust the ingredient amounts. You can set up a ratio to find out how much of each ingredient you need by multiplying by the factor of 6 divided by 4. Travel planning also involves algebra. If you know the distance to your destination and your car's mileage, you can calculate how much fuel you will need. By setting up an equation with the distance and fuel efficiency, you can find out how many gallons you will need to purchase. Home improvement projects requiring algebra too. When you are measuring areas for painting or flooring, you need to calculate the area of walls or floors. Using formulas, you can solve for unknown measurements to ensure you buy the right amount of materials. When it comes to loans and credit, algebra helps you understand how much you owe. You can calculate monthly payments and interest rates using algebraic formulas. This way, you can see how different rates affect your total payments over time. Scheduling your time effectively is another practical use of algebra. When you plan your day, you estimate how long tasks will take. You might set up an equation to determine how much time you have left for other activities after completing certain tasks. If you have a number of items to share, like candies, algebra helps you divide them equally. You can set up a simple equation to find out how many each person gets, ensuring fairness in sharing. Lastly, when calculating gasoline usage and costs, algebra is essential. You can figure out how much it will cost to fill your tank and how far you can drive before needing to refuel. By using variables for the price per gallon and your tank's capacity, you can find the total cost and distance. In all these examples, algebra is about working with unknown values and solving equations. Understanding these concepts can make everyday decision-making easier and more efficient. By recognizing how algebra applies to daily life, you can appreciate its usefulness beyond the classroom.